Another great day of NBA basketball at the Orlando Bubble. In the first game, it was the Sacramento Kings getting their first bubble win over the Pelicans. Bad loss for the Pels. Next, the Bucks coming back against the Miami Heat and taking the W. The Suns improved to 4-0 against the Indiana Pacers. The Clippers with another big win against the Mavericks. Damian Lillard drops 45 points to beat the Nuggets, and the Rockets take down the LeBron Jamesless Lakers. Let's get into more detail. And for the first game of the day, it was the Kings taking down the Pelicans. A really poor showing from New Orleans, letting Bogdanovich drop 35, career high for him. De'Aaron Fox also had 30 points and 10 assists. Barnes finished with 22. For the Pels, it was Zion and Brandon Ingram, both with 24. But just a really bad loss for the Pelicans. Their biggest lead, the Kings' biggest lead was 19, and that was pretty much all in the first half. The Pelicans tried to get back in it in the second half, but it didn't really, they just couldn't get back in it. Bad loss for the Pels, giving the Kings their first win in the bubble, and this pretty much effectively, it's not 100%, but with the way the Blazers and the Suns are playing, this might do it for the Pelicans. They're now 2 games out of the 9 seed, and they're the 13th seed, the worst in the bubble. Not looking good for them at all. But big night for the Kings. They got their win. Their hopes are still alive. They're also 2 games back from the 9 seed, but I guess you never know what can happen. There's still 4 games left for pretty much all the teams that are competing for the seed. So we'll see what happens there. Let's get into the next game. And for the second game, the Bucks clinched the 1 seed in the East behind 33 points from Chris Middleton and Giannis. Brook Lopez chipped in with 17. For the Heat, it was Duncan Robinson with 21 points, 5 of those being 3-pointers, and Tyler Hero off the bench with 20 points. But the Heat blew a big lead. They were up 23 at one point. But in the fourth quarter, it was all Bucks. They outscored the Heat by 20. Giannis, as you can see from these highlights, was taking over with dunks and all his Euro steps that he loves to do. Here you see him with a beautiful spin move and dunk. Great move from Giannis on Jay Crowder. And then pretty much the dagger right here from Giannis. Dunk right over Duncan Robinson. That was a mean one. And then you see Chris Middleton hitting a very, very cheesy 3-pointer to completely dagger the Heat. The Heat were playing without Goran Dragic and Jimmy Butler, so not the worst loss for them. But yeah, the Bucks are going to take this W. And for the Suns, it was Cameron Payne getting it done with 15 points off the bench. D-Book had 20 and Aiden had 23. But Payne really took over and blew this game apart. As you can see from these highlights, he was just hitting threes from deep. 3 for 5 from the 3-point line, 6 for 9 in the game. He really took over for the Suns at a much-needed point. The Suns are now 4-0 in the bubble, and they're only 1 game back from the 9 seed, which is very impressive considering they came in here with basically no expectations. They're actually a game and a half back now because the Blazers just won. But it's definitely not over for them considering the Grizzlies are losing. We might be able to see a Blazers-Suns play-in tournament if everything continues as it's going. Their schedule does get a lot harder though. Definitely does not get easier. The teams they play from now on are all above 500. They have the Heat next to have been on fire. So let's see if they can continue their hot streak. But I got faith in them. I think they're a good team. For the Pacers, T.J. Warren kind of cooled off today. He had 16 points on 7 for 20 shooting. He was averaging 40 points in the previous games before today, so understandably cooled down. Malcolm Brogdon, had 25 points. Mispronounced that name. But he has been cooking for the Pacers. As you see, D-Book drain that 3. Big shot, big game from Devin Booker. The Suns are going to win this one. For the Mavericks versus the Clippers, it was Clippers taking the W 126-111. Kawhi Leonard had 29 points, Paul George with 24. For the Mavericks, Luka had 29 and Porzingis had 30. But this was a really close game up until the 5-minute mark when, as you can see here, the Clippers just start to pull away. It was a big W for the Clippers. They're basically locked in at that 2 seed at this point. And their matchup will most likely be the Dallas Mavericks, considering the Mavericks are 3 games back from the 6 seed, and then the Nuggets are now a game and a half back from the 2 seed. So this is a possible playoff matchup. Luka and Porzingis versus PG and Kawhi. Pretty entertaining matchup in my opinion. But yeah, the Clippers get it done. Big fourth quarter from them. They outscored the Mavericks by 11 in this quarter. And yeah, Clippers get a big W against Luka and Porzingis. And in the game of the night, it was Damian Lillard dropping 45 points with 11 3-pointers, 11 for 18 from the 3, 13 for 21 in the game. He went off today. Gary Trent chipped in 27 points on 7 for 10 from the 3-point line. He has been amazing for this Blazers team. If you've watched the games, you will know he has been such a great shooter for them. Bol had 9 points off the bench in 24 minutes. Jokic did not play in the second half much. He only played 23 minutes in this game. Michael Porter Jr. had another 27-point, 12-rebound game. Big games for the Rook. But as you can see, the Blazers, they fought off this Nuggets run at the end, but it just wasn't enough for Denver. The Blazers get a much-needed W. They are now only half a game behind the Memphis Grizzlies for that 8 seed. They're probably going to slide into their next game is on Saturday against the Clippers, so that's going to be a difficult one. They need it. The Grizzlies play on today, actually, against the Thunder. That's going to be a big one for the Grizzlies. We'll see who wins there. Keep an eye out on that one. But yeah, Blazers win this one. And for the final game of the day, it's the Lakers losing to the Rockets 97-113. James Harden finished with 39 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists. Russell Westbrook did not play today. Ben Malcolmore also had 20 points with 5 3-pointers. For the Lakers, it was Kyle Kuzma with 21 points, and AD had 17 points, 12 rebounds. Dwight Howard with 15 rebounds off the bench. Nice contribution from him. But this game was all Rockets, pretty much. Their biggest lead was 19. The Lakers only had a 2-point lead very briefly at the beginning of the game. But yeah, this was an absolute domination. The Lakers did not have LeBron James, but there's no excuse really because the Rockets did not have Westbrook. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. With this win by the Rockets, by the way, they are still in the 4th seed. They're only a game and a half behind the 3 seed, and they're tied with the Jazz for the 5th seed. So will they move up to the 3 seed? We'll find out. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow with the August 7th game review. Later.